Pikmin 4's difficulty is not horribly designed. It's just freaking confused. I'm only here for Pikmin recently released a video about Pikmin 4's insanely low difficulty, basically going over the fact that because it tries to ease the experience at every corner, there's no longer an experience to ease. It's a really interesting video and I highly recommend you checking it out, and for the most part, I agree with the points made there. Pikmin 4 aims your cursor for you. It automatically locks onto enemies and objects. What the frick? But I think there's a much deeper discussion that can be had here, because Pikmin 4's difficulty has never been something that's bothered me personally. In fact, I believe it's one of the main traits as to why Pikmin 4 is a very intelligently designed game. I was working on the Yellow Pikmin Dandori database video and came across a game mechanic that perfectly illustrates why I think this way. And while I was going to put that topic in discussion in that video, the Yellow Pikmin video should be a video about Yellow Pikmin. And hey, Pikmin 4 is turning 1. That's enough justification. Pikmin 1 Bomb Rocks! Who's ready to talk about these things? If you played the first game, you likely know how weird and confusing this aspect can be, especially against enemies. Throwing a yellow Pikmin is like rolling the lottery. Literally anything can happen once they land. Maybe they successfully chuck the bomb. Maybe they run up and drop it. Sometimes they can just miss, or hit while the enemy is completely invincible. There's so much chaos going on that it makes using these bombs feel like complete RNG instead of any real tactical decision. Despite the fact you can learn how it works. You can find consistent spots to throw yellows at for consistent outcomes, deal with enemies in fast ways using the limited supply of explosives. There's a significant amount of information you can learn if you care enough to spend the time doing so. In comparison, Pikmin 3's bomb rocks are heavily simplified. Instead of relying on Pikmin AI to do the right thing, throwing a bomb now makes it blow up right where it landed. It's far more consistent, understandable, and most notably, easier to use. Their power has also been increased significantly, so in addition to being super straightforward, they also give a much greater reward. Overall, this leads to a decrease in the skill ceiling. There's far less nuance, and the importance of the execution has been lessened. On paper, why would 3's bomb rocks be better for the game? They're rewarding players more for putting in far less time, effort, and understanding. Heck, Bulborbs now even look at bombs when you throw them, just to guarantee they won't walk too far away and avoid the explosion. In what ways is this more rewarding than this? Well, by lessening the impact of the execution, the decision gets to shine far more. Pikmin 3, by simplifying and increasing the power of bomb rocks, now makes it super easy to use them as effectively as you can. And when using a bomb rock is this simple, you're no longer needing to worry about the specifics of how to use bomb rocks. Now, the improvement you get to focus on is where to use bomb rocks. Dandori as a concept is incredibly vague, but what it means to me is far more than just another synonym for being optimal. Dandori is the importance of the route in your efficiency, the order in which you complete the tasks. Routing is what the Pikmin games have now deemed to be the single most important part of the adventure. Like, don't get me wrong, Pikmin 1 still has routing. Routing is still the most important part of that game, but it has far more nuances to the individual steps. And it doesn't matter how well you complete each of those individual steps, a bad route is a bad route. So then, what's a good route? This is what the newer games are interested in. This is Dandori. By simplifying the execution required for optimal gameplay, improving your route is now the best way you can go about being more efficient. And to make this process more fun, we can see Pikmin 4 offers a significant amount of insanely powerful tools. Ice Pikmin are busted. Spicy Spray is better than ever. Ochi! Each area is a sandbox of shinies. The game provides this busted toolbox, and now it's up to you to figure out which combinations let you beat the stage in a single day. This is the way to play Pikmin 4 in order for its design to make sense. Time passing in caves, gaining limited glow Pikmin from night expeditions, the freaking 3 type limit. These are all here in order to make optimizing playthroughs more interesting and challenging. Time limit in caves means it's still important to do them fast, especially in the context of the day timer. Glow Pikmin are yet another powerful option you have, but are limited in supply and slow to deploy. And by only letting you take 3 types at once, you need to think deeper about which Pikmin leads to the fastest completion. While the game tells you the recommended types and even forces you to start your army with them, this doesn't stop the Serene Shores from having enemies weak to rock Pikmin. Plenty of buried treasure for yellows. Small ledges winged Pikmin get to skip. In the context of beating Pikmin 4 in the fewest number of days, the game gets to shine when you're improving your speed through improving your route. The difficulty here isn't horribly designed, it's actually freaking amazing. You have to actually think and try new strategies if you want to reduce your day count. When the game is designed around Dandori, the difficulty is the Dandori. But with all this praise and enjoyment I get out of this style of play, there's still plenty of critiques to be had, even about the things I've been praising. First, I do want to say this is not an objectively better structure for Pikmin, nor is it objectively worse. This is just an alternate take where the different prioritization of different aspects creates a different speed and type of improvement that some people are going to enjoy more and some people aren't. Pikmin 1 and 2 are games you can learn the in-depth nuances of and just become skilled at them in general. As stated in IOF's video, with 3 and especially 4, the lack of difficulty in the execution can remove a lot of the enjoyment. The individual steps just aren't as engaging. By being routing based, while you still can get better at the games, there's always some level of skill improvement. Being efficient relies less on this skill and more on something you can literally just look up. The Pikmin 4 speedrun is always out there, and I'm terrified of watching it for fear of showing the best route we got. This is something I like learning and figuring out myself, and I'm definitely good enough at the series to get a serious time if I put in the effort. But then it ruins the main enjoyment factor I have from playing these games. Like, I speedrun Psychonauts 2, but one of the most fun things I've done there was helping route the 100% run alongside Time Walker. To me, the joy of Dandori is the joy of routing, a massively underappreciated part of any optimization. Many big speedrunning stories always focus on the people who chug away at the game to get the half second of time save for a world record, and that's awesome. But we never would have gotten to this point if there weren't people who found the best way to go about things in the first place. Can we get some appreciation for routers in the comments? Anyways, yeah, I've just been blabbering on a bit about how much I like routing, but that's also the biggest issue with Pikmin 4's Dandori focus. Not everyone likes it. With this greater focus on routing, Pikmin 4 sacrifices the actual nuances of the execution. Pikmin 2, notably, can't be routed, or at least preparatively routed. Playing it efficiently requires on-the-spot decisions and significant game knowledge. In addition, it's inherently much more difficult. It was never intended to be torn apart so thoroughly in this way, not designed to have multiple routing options. It's far less afraid to just shove absolute nonsense at you and say, deal with it. This is an element of Pikmin 2 I respect immensely, and is a major factor as to why it's so many people's favorite Pikmin game, while also being so many people's least favorite Pikmin game. And despite it being my own least favorite, I am still greatly disappointed that Pikmin 4 didn't actually try to be like Pikmin 2. It continued to focus on Dandori and design the entire game around it to the point where, if you don't play it with a routing focused way, then you're not going to be fully enjoying anything the game has to offer. I am not bashing anyone who doesn't like the routing focus, by the way. This is a critique of Pikmin 4 for misleading and disappointing Pikmin 2 fans. Pikmin 3, and especially 1, encourages improving your Dandori through a simple yet genius design decision. There are limited days. When done right, if you want to beat the game, you have to play it in the way it's meant to be played. And once you do beat the game, how far can you push it? Pikmin 2's caves and the lack of a time limit perfectly showcase its separation from this style of gameplay, opting for a dungeon crawler-like experience. Pikmin 4's lack of a time limit, combined with its long length and caves, gives off the impression it's like Pikmin 2, despite being designed like 1 and 3. The time limit being removed was definitely done partly to bring 4 closer to 2, but also partly done to let the game be more accessible to everyone. But without a time limit, 4's only method of getting you to route it is to spam the word Dandori everywhere and hope you get the memo. Pikmin 4 is pathetically easy if you try and play it like Pikmin 2. And considering 2's focus is to simply beat the game instead of optimizing it, this is the default way a majority of players are going to play it, which then leads to Pikmin 4 being perceived by most people as being freaking easy. Of course, this isn't to say the game becomes perfect when playing for efficiency. There's still plenty more problems that arise. Despite the Dandori focus, Pikmin 4 is freaking annoying if you want to Dandori it. The start of the game is so slow and makes your playing it genuinely tedious. The game freezes every time you get a castaway and there's no skip button. I thought we abolished this concept back in Pikmin 3. The loading screens are so bad, they had to add a loading bar in an update. 4 is the longest game in the series by a significant margin, which makes replaying it far more of a hassle. They did the Doomsday apparatus again with the golden vaulting table, which either requires a multiple hour detour or just grinding in the final cave. And finally, the auto lock-on just sucks. 3 Deluxe's manual lock-on worked great as a way to let you aim while moving, mimicking the way you can optimally play with a Wii remote back on the Wii U. But Pikmin 4's auto lock-on prevents you from overloading treasures. If you spam A, you can't throw more than the minimum weight until the lock-on turns off. This is so bad, it's genuinely better to aim next to treasures to max them out. Optimal Dandori means avoiding the auto lock-on. And unrelated, but I still need to bring this up, but 3 Deluxe pauses the game with plus and opens the map with minus. Pikmin 4 pauses the game with minus and opens the map with plus. Who did this? Overall, I would never call Pikmin 4's difficulty horribly designed. It's a game that's heavily focused on optimizing your route, your Dandori, and so the game's challenge lies in this process. It's like a puzzle. Pikmin 4 introduces a significant amount of super simple, albeit vastly powerful options you can use in all sorts of ways, and finding which ones work in what spots is the challenge. That's the hard part, and it's where the game truly shines. Unfortunately, by trying to combine elements from every Pikmin game together in one chaotic stew, Pikmin 4 just kind of randomly picks and chooses what it wants to do. If you're looking for a challenge in the vein of Pikmin 2, it's pathetically easy. If you're looking for a fun game to route through, the simplification of the execution can be boring when the game's not actively fighting your decisions. And if you're looking for a replayable Pikmin 1 or Pikmin 3-esque experience, Pikmin 4 has too many pace breakers over an absurd amount of playtime to make it match up. In the decade of waiting for this game, I was hoping for it to be my perfect Pikmin game. The structure of 1, the writing of 2, the gameplay of 3, in each area able to be completed in a single day. Also, like 6 areas. 6 Pikmin 3 sized areas. It's a simple goal that would have led to a fairly short, replayable, optimizable experience that, while not appealing to the Pikmin 2 crowd, never was trying to. And then Pikmin 4 does show up, and instead of being the peak Pikmin experience, it adds to the pile of highly flawed games. Experiences that I will complain about for hours on end, but at the end of the day, love with my whole heart, and can respect and understand their goals and intentions while comprehending where they went wrong. Pikmin 4's difficulty is not horribly designed. Pikmin 4 just is trying to be too many things at once. Anyways, yeah, that's all I really have to say. I want to get this short little video out in preparation for Pikmin 4's birthday. Woohoo, it's been a year, 9 more to go! I hope you gained something off of my perspective of this little random discussion, and if you're interested in seeing other more things I have to say, that's a sentence and a half, subscribe. I'll be releasing the yellow Pikmin video soon. Is this cutting my fingers off? Gosh darn, I don't care anymore. I said this in the video, I gotta say it here. I have an excuse. Play Psychonauts 2!